Hi, I'm Hudson. I'm a game designer and I occasionally make videos. I want to talk about Deadlock. I've been interested in Deadlock for a very long time. I've wanted to play it ever since I first heard about it, but I was never invited. Now that I have access to the game, I've been playing it a lot and I have very strong opinions about it. So let's talk about that. The game's performance is usually buttery smooth. I have not personally encountered any major performance issues. The only performance drops that I've noticed have been during huge team fights, and while that isn't ideal, it's brief and to be expected. I've liked the aesthetic of the game ever since I first saw it. I like the paranormal vibe and the rustic comic book aesthetic. And the recent shop update has really improved the look and feel of the game. I particularly like that each of the characters are so unique, even in this unfinished state. I want to be sure to say that the recent shop update was shocking. The level of quality is incredible, and it's obvious that a tremendous amount of time, effort, and love is going into this game. The new items are great, the aesthetic and performance improvements are beautiful, and in general, the game feels significantly better than it did only a week ago. I was stunned by how much of an improvement this update has been. I also want to acknowledge all of the superb quality of life features in the game. Despite being in early access, the game includes a robust options menu, easily downloaded replays, a detailed summary of previous matches, clearly defined tooltips and statistics, a newly improved build editor, and a suite of tools for learning the game. It's all available in high quality and it's extremely appreciated. There are games that are done that don't have this level of fidelity. The game doesn't feel like a shooter. It's definitely more of a strategy game than anything else. Every shooter mechanic feels watered down. Shots have severe damage fall off, reload feels superficial, aiming is more of a hindrance than a boon, and headshots aren't nearly as impactful as you'd expect them to be. But that last point probably is for the best. The game regularly takes too long to finish. It's kind of exhausting. I sometimes just want the game to end, and a player shouldn't feel that way when they're playing a good game. The respawn timer becomes ridiculously long and you just sit there doing nothing. It's an enormous waste of time. And when the game is already taking too long, the long respawn time makes it feel even worse. The power balance of the game is all over the place. It definitely feels better since the recent update, but it's still a huge problem. From game to game, the same characters can be enormous bullet sponges or delicate Fabergé eggs. It feels terrible to get stomped by your opponents or to have to run away from them just because their numbers are bigger. It is not competitive for one player to have an advantage over another just because they farmed more souls. It feels terrible to not be able to contribute or have any impact on the game. You feel bad about yourself and you feel like the game is cheating you, and it harbors resentment between teammates and opponents alike. The game is simultaneously boring and overstimulating. I often feel like I'm not where I should be, and it isn't always clear where you should be and when. Should I push the lane? Should I engage in a team fight? Should I go for side objectives? It's not always clear. And that's compounded by the fact that it seems to always take too long to get anywhere. When I see a team fight, it's over by the time I get there. And when I'm en route to defend a Guardian or Walker, I always seem to arrive too late. A large portion of the game is spent rerouting because goals change so quickly, so often. Which leads me to my next point: the map is too big. I know that Valve recently reduced the number of lanes from 4 to 3, but the map is still huge and mostly empty. It's like walking around an empty shopping mall. It doesn't facilitate good team fights, and it's confusing to consider so many routes and goals. There aren't many choke points because you can just go around them. Team fights happen in weird places that aren't designed for them, like under bridges or inside small buildings, and there are too many routes for ganks. It's difficult to prepare for a gank when you don't have at least some general idea of where it's coming from. In other games, there's usually a few designated areas where a flank or gank could come from, but in Deadlock it could come from literally anywhere, including the sky. There's no counterplay other than being overly cautious or becoming proficient at the usage of double cheek. I played a few games against bots to try out some new builds, and I found it strange that I had significantly more fun playing with bots than I did in a real match. The bots are stupid, so they tend to group up in the same lane, and that was actually really fun. There was always something happening, and it was like a continual team fight, pushing the lane back and forth until one team overpowered the other. There was a singular defined goal, it was clear and manageable, and it was easy to follow what was happening. It was in stark contrast to a real match, which teeters very broadly between hectic and boring. I really like what Valve are doing with Deadlock, and I really want to like the gameplay, but my experience with the game is very inconsistent. It can be a really fun experience that feels great, or it can be a grueling slog that wastes your time. I've heard it said that sometimes you just have a bad game. But if it's possible to have a bad experience, then why would I waste my time on it? A game should be fun all the way through, not just sometimes. I recognize that the game is still in development, and I genuinely hope that it will improve and ascend from its present state. I'm really looking forward to seeing this game thrive. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.